is part 2 of the wedding album remake from a regular line journal. This is part 2, so we're going to go on. The videos are sliced together again, like I said earlier, where I do a little bit and then I do a video and I splice them together in the edit process. So this is part 2, so stay tuned as I try to get these put back together, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, just as a reminder, I've come to a little spot here. Now I started putting the pages in for the wedding ceremony. And I've got them all printed and cut, and I've also got them all stitched down the side, ready to go. Now it's a matter of stripping these pages out at the preparation. Now, I came to this spot here. This is where one of the signatures were pulled out. Remember in the first phase of the book trim, we had these gutters, and that's where the strings were. And when I get to this point here, I'm seeing a lot of strings, and we want to hide that. So I'm taking my scissors, and where I can, I'm stringing. Well, these aren't very sharp. Let me reach back here where I can do it with a knife. I'm trying to pull out these excess strings as much as I can that's sticking up, because we don't want them to stick up above where we glue our glue line. I'm going to take this glue, my berry glue, and the first thing I'm going to do is re-glue the glue seam. Remember, we pulled them out at the glue seam on each signature. Okay, that's the first step. Then I'm going to do it just like I do any other normal page. I'm going to put my glue protector in behind I pulled out 2 pages now instead of 1. I pulled out 2. And I'm going to go in now with my stick glue, and I'm going to push this down in the seam so that we kind of got some protection here, and we're going to glue this seam down really good. We're going to glue these 2 pieces. Now, this is not what you do every time, just this particular place when you've got the seam where you pulled your signature out earlier in the process of stripping the book down. And then I want to make sure I really got a good tight seal, okay? Then it's right back to business as usual. We're going to stick the, well, let's slide it on the other side. That may be still a little wet. Stick that back in, push that down. We're going to re-glue. I hope you're seeing everything okay, guys. So now it's just a matter of going back to the way we do every other page. We're just going to push that seam back down, put the glue on it. I do it in 2 steps here. I really make sure I've got a good amount of my stick glue. Make sure you're using a good quality stick glue. And then I always put just a light string. And the reason I don't use Berry Arts as my name is because it's so wet. And it will make that strip crinkle because it's so tiny. But then we just come in again and we make sure at the top and the bottom we're into that seam. Push your paper down into your seam as far as you can, because this is the really deep guts of the book and you really don't want it to slide and mess up. And I'm measuring at the end, making sure I'm at the end and the top and bottom of the perforated line, a perforated strip that we had. I'm taking my book and I tip it up just a little to make sure we're in that seam good. And then I take my bone folder, which I have a chopstick as my bone folder. You guys can get you one if you want. It works really well for this purpose, but a regular bone folder will work too. I wouldn't go with a butter knife because I'd be afraid you might cut your paper. And you don't need to do it heavy. You do it light because you do not in any way want to tear that perforated piece, because that was the frame of the book. That's your guts. You don't want to mess that up. Of all things, you do not want to mess strips up. Then I flip it over with my glue sheet in place, and then I slowly pull my glue sheet back, because sometimes the glue does stick to that, so you want to peel that back off. Again, that's why I use the stick glue, because the stick glue doesn't glue as fast as the Berry Arts, and you may not be able to pull that glue sheet off if any of it's got on it and adhere it together. So then I just take my bone folder again on my flat end and go down and make sure everything's pressed tight. I press my finger across. I have sharp fingernails, guys, as y'all probably noticed. My finger polish looks like crap, but that's all right. I'm sorry. I haven't had time to put any fresh on, and I'm really busy with this wedding, and I apologize for my fingernails. But they are also one of my tools. My fingernails are part of my tools, and I really use them to press my glue in. And there we have it. We got that page in. Nobody is the wiser that it was a And what we had there was a little bit of glue seepage, so I'm pressing here and rubbing to make sure we pulled some of that off. And I'm going to have to let this book stay open and let that dry again before I close it. But that's your pages on the wedding now ceremony now. It's starting to come together, pink, green. That's our thing, green and pink. And it's coming together, and nobody's the wiser that you pulled out a whole signature out of that part of the book. And as you see, even with all the stitching and all, our book is still not extremely fat. There's still plenty of room for photos and everything. Of course, we're only halfway through the book. But we're going to get through it, and we're going to finish up now putting the wedding ceremony in, and then we'll start with the reception pages. I'll be right back. Okay, when I pulled that apart, like I glued two more, and I pulled it apart, and what I'm dealing with now is the glue's not drying quick enough. So I'm going to put a glue sheet, what I call a glue dryer sheet in between. This will hopefully help keep the pages from sticking together. And I'm going to kind of try to keep them fluffy, because when I start pressing here, if there's any glue seepage in the seam here, it seems to be wanting to stick to this back page and then pull on the perforated strip. We do not want that. So I'm going to put these in between just for a couple of minutes while I'm working on the next one. And hopefully I'm going to eliminate that issue of where I actually have glue seepage. Because for the first part of the book, I haven't been gluing this many pages at one time. I was designing the page, then putting it in, and designing the page, and then putting it in. Right now, I've got them all designed over here in the stack, and I'm just putting them in one behind the other. So I'm not really giving my glue time to dry. And when you're doing something that is important as a bride's book, you want to be as cautious as you can, because this is a main story of her life, and you don't want it. You just don't want to mess it up. So we're starting again, and I'm going to try to glue this one, and I will put I'll pull a little farthest back glue protector and put in this strip when I get through. And it may be that the berry glue, I may be putting too much. I hope not, but I shouldn't be getting seepage like this, but I am. So just thought I would pop on and tell you guys what I do. Look, the hardest part, and honestly, this is the hardest part right here, is just getting it in that seam. But once you've got it in that seam, you pretty much have got the page down. It's not too hard from that point. I just can't reiterate enough how important it is to not try to press down in that seam and punch a hole or anything. You really want that to stay solid. And that pulled off really well. So now we can just lightly press down. I'm using the flat end of my chopstick for this piece, and of course my fingernails, which I say is an intricate tool in what I do. Okay, and I probably should have done that glue sheet before I even started squeezing my fingernails. But the reason for that is so that if there's seepage, it will not get onto the prior perforated strip. My goal in this book is to protect these perforated strips as much as possible, because they, like I say, are the intricate part of holding this book together. So, you see, there was seepage, so it was in there. But we're going to leave it a few minutes, go on to the next one, and we are almost, like I say, almost done with the wedding ceremony one. I think we've got an even amount. Anyway, we'll figure that out. But that's where we are. We're still stripping pages out and regluing pages. And because I am stripping out, and I'm going to reiterate this again, because I am actually pulling this out like this and not gluing a page on top of this page on top of this page, my bulk is very minimal in this book. It's not making the book anywhere near as bulky as it would be. So you can carry this process on even to the Reader's Digest. When you strip out your pages, and I'm getting ready to do one. I found another book that's really thick that we're going to work on. But you could do the same thing. You could actually cut maybe a 1/2 inch strip on the pages that are left in your book, and take off the rest and get rid of that bulk at this side of the book. You're still always going to have bulk in this middle, because there's no less bulk here than there was, except for when we actually completely stripped out the signatures. But we'll discuss how to do it in a different type of book in our next video series of altering books. But let's go on with this one, and we will see how things turn out. Okay, and again, I've torn this out, come here, and I've come to another strip that we actually pulled a signature out. So it's the same operation again. We're going to go ahead and pull the front piece of the piece before the gutted piece and the piece after the gutted piece, where you're seeing the seam and the threads, the loose threads hanging. I'm going to gently pull this page out, keeping the perforated strip intact. Again, we're going to go, I've already put a glue sheet here to protect this piece. We're going to again go with very arch right deep down in the seam. Not on the perforation, but deep down in the glue seam. We're just going to do this again to kind of secure that. I got a little bit of threads I see that wants to stick up top. We got to get rid of those. So I'm going to cut them as far down as I can, so they're hidden. Make sure there's no more. Of course, when we press like this, and I am going to take my and press, and maybe I got one little piece here sticking up. That's just the caution you have to take here. All right, we're good there. All right, let me get my, I'm sorry, y'all. They're so humid. I like to keep my needle in my thing so that we're not having any glue problems. All right, again, the protector sheet behind the second one. Open up the seam. Come in with a glue stick. Oh, don't want to do that. All right, and then we're going to press them together. It's out of the way a minute. Press the two together. Making sure you got a good tight seal. If you don't have good fingernails, you can do it with your foam folder. And I would do both sides just as a precaution. Trying not to do what I just did and fold it down. I've got to try to pull that back up. Okay. Try to keep it up as straight as possible. Even if you have to take your book and bend it a little bit like this to get it to open up some more. Alright, so that seam is done. Alright, we come back with the dry side of our protector sheet. Lay it over like usual. I hope I'm not boring you guys, but this is the process. And every page is not identical, and situations change. So I am videoing as much as I can. Now you have to understand, these are videos made in little strips, and I'm really lightening up on the glue that I'm using here so that I can prevent the stickage that I'm having over there. Okay, I'm going to get another piece of my heavy paper. I'm going to go ahead and lay it right here for a second before I lay this one on. But we're going to go make sure I got the right color, because it's pink and green, pink and green. So green was last, so pink is right. I'll get it right there at the edge of that preparation. Make sure it's there. Stick it in that valley, or gutter, or whatever you call that. Make sure it's down in that seam. Pressing it down into the seam. Picking the book up to make sure it's down in the seam on the side. And before you do any more, go ahead and stick this piece of paper in case there's seepage, and flip it over like this. And you're going to pull the glue piece off the protector and press this piece down. So here we go. Pressing it down, getting a good seal, and making sure it's not wrinkled, everything's straight, everything's glued. Good seam. And there you have it. So we've taken care of another gutter area where the, and make sure you come back and pull your glue piece out and flip it over again for protection, just for a few minutes, let it have time to dry. Alright, yep, it's a process, I can't say that enough, it's a process, and you got to get through it. But this album is beginning to look beautiful. We don't have a whole lot more to go, and we're going to finish up. We've got one more green sheet to go on this side, so I think I'm going to let the video roll. And if you see me do that one more time, because this is not an unusual circumstance. This is just a normal rip out one page, Put the glue protector sheet behind it. Again, glue stick. I got to start putting my lid on my glue stick or it's going to dry out. We got a beautiful rainy day here in North Carolina. I love rain. It's so peaceful to me. All right. Oh, and also, I'm praying for Israel. I want everybody to know I'm praying for Israel. And I'm sorry if you're against the Israelites. I'm sorry. I am not. But I am praying for Israel. I'm praying for any country that has to go through a massacre of that sort. There's no excuse for it. I don't care what differences you have with your neighbors. There is no reason to murder and hurt children. So, yes, we're praying for Israel. So I'm asking all my viewers to please continue to pray for Israel. All right, so we've got that. You remember what I said next? We may have seepage in this little line. Hopefully not, but we may. This will put us well, I'm going to run out of glue sheets. Let's get back over here and grab one. This is right back there, and it should be fine. Stick that in, and then we're going to flip everything over and glue that last piece down. There we go, pull it off. And that didn't have to have a lot. It already run itself right on out. That's when y'all love it, when it just lays down like it's supposed to. And that now, my friends, is the completion of the section called the wedding ceremony. We have it now. See, it started with the lace. We just did several blank pages that the bride can do any way she wishes. Our thing was pink and green, pink and green. I'm not sure you can see it that well. My lighting's not great today, but that's the thing. I will do a complete flip through of this book when it's completed. At the end of the video, I'll do a complete flip through. But that's where we are. So let's keep working on it. We're getting ready to now do our wedding reception. That's our next title. I've got to design the pages, and I'll be back to go over those with you. Okay, where we had left off is we had managed to get through the honeymoon pages. The lace that you see here are the dividers for each section. I've got lace on each divider right here. The writing's a lot larger on that, and the page is blank if she wants to put a photo. We left all the pages blank, but we did stitch every page up to this point. It's looking really solid. I've gone back and checked, and everything is looking like it's holding together good. It's not feeling flimsy. The only issue we ran into was when we got back here to this part. This is the part where the last part of her book, which is not, you might not want to do this to your book, but I just didn't want to tear out so many pages. So I had like 20 extra pages left. But when I closed my book, I was noticing that we're starting to get bulk on the front side where the stitching is. Now, we've got plenty of space in between to add photos and all, so that's not going to hurt anything to add them here. We just can't keep adding the stitching here without getting a lot more bulk. So we don't want alligator mouth to any large extent. I mean, a little bit's okay, but not a lot. Okay, so what we had to do is go back into this back, and we had to pull out some more pages. So I had like 20 left. I went in and I reduced it on down to about 6 pages. This section is going to be called Her First Year. I did, in the beginning, I don't know if you were with me when we started doing the book, well, or if you saw that, but I had to add washi tape here because whoever made the book stuck these first 2 pages were just slightly stuck together on this page. And it made a little white streak here I didn't like. So we put the washi tape. Well, it looked kind of strange all through the book with no more. So I've gone in, and on each section I've also added the washi tape to it, like this. And if you hear noise in my background, my little fella's with me again, so I apologize, but he's having fun. But that's what we've done with this. We did the washi tape. And he sure doesn't want to play in his room today. Okay, but that's what I'm doing now. When I get to each section, I've added the washi tape. Now this one, I did have a little bit of a problem once I removed some of these pages with a little extra bulk in here. So just to kind of hide that, I did another piece of tape. It's not hurting the thing. It kind of makes everything uniform by having the tape in different places in the book. And it's really pretty. It's her colors, so it just makes the book just a little extra something to make the book nice. So for today, we're going to finish this back part, putting in just the plain blank pages of pink and green for her for her first year, and she can add photos, add pockets to it, tickets, whatever. We've got plenty of space in between, even though we've got the bulk here. Even though the bulk is here, when you press it, you'll see there's a lot of gap left in here, so there's plenty of room for photos and all without making the book too thick. And we need to get the satin ribbon around here for her closure before we put the main satin on. So that's what I hope to do today in the next two series here, or 2 skips here. I'm going to do 2 more videos. This one that we're working on now, and I'm going to do the cover. So hopefully we'll get this book finished in this particular video today. Now, what I have to do now is, as you recall, I've said several times I had to cut these pages down, and I don't know if I've showed y'all how I do that. So I'm going to show you how I've been cutting them down. I took out one of the pieces that we had like this, and I'm sorry about the shadow. Let me turn my other light on. Hold on just a second. I'll be right back. I'm not sure that helped a lot, but, you know, and I'm not a professional studio, so I don't have all this beautiful lighting. But anyway, maybe one day I'll get professional lighting. But for right now, I'm happy with what I do. I'm just a country girl doing what she loves. All right, what I do is I take the open piece like this, and I shut it. This is the size I need. Good or not, this is the size I need, okay, for my book. And I take what I'm getting ready to cut down, and because I don't have wording on here, it's not real, it doesn't matter a whole lot. But you want to put it at the top, and then I just take a pencil and lightly outline the size. And then from here, I go to my guillotine cutter, and I'm going to cut it. And I cut it just a tiny bit inside my marked line. So give me just a second. I'm going to go cut it, and I'll be right back. Okay, and it takes about a second or 2. Now I've got them cut down. I've got them lined up the way they're going to be put in the book, pink, green. Just double checking to make sure it's the correct size, and it looks like everything's good. Now, next step, I got to do my stitching down the side. We're going to switch back over to pink. Be right back. So we'll go from here. Oh, my lands. That's not good. It appears that my glue turned over without the lid on it. I'm not the best in the world about this. Let's stop the video. Okay, we got the final pages for the back part put in. We're going to wall in nice and neat. Everything looks good to me. I'm pleased with it. Yeah. All right, so that's all done, and the interior of our book is complete. Now, I've got my satin. Let me show you the stuff we're going to use. Just a second. Okay, I've got a lot of decorative stuff. I'm going to show you some things. I may not use all of it. I may use every bit of it, and then some. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to use. I'm going to get out and just kind of go over what we're going to try to work with and see what we can come up with for the front of this album. So, you'll see all in just a second. Let me drag it out of these. Okay. It was a rainy day when I went to get it, so they really kind of bagged everything up really tight for me. But that's okay. That's good. Okay, what we've got right here is I've got some wide lace. I got this from Hobby Lobby. That's where that came from. I'm going to try to get in it and open it so we can just kind of see the design on it. But yeah, as usual, when I'm doing something, it wants to give me a hard time. But hey, you know what? We'll just struggle on. Okay, I got some wide lace. So that's probably going to go on the the binder and the, okay, anyway, that's going to go here most likely. I don't know. We haven't decided. But we got 2 rolls of that just in case. Then I have this beautiful white satin I got from a place called Mill Outlet. And this is beautiful satin. So that's going to be the base. And then on top of the satin, after I get it laid down, I bought a beautiful piece of lace like this. And we're going to lay that over the book. So it's going to lay over it like that. So that's what those 2 pieces will be. I'm going to go, I have another little station that I do all that. And then I have got pearls. I don't have them on my desk right now, but I have them. And I did buy this just in case. Not sure that I'll need it, but I've got this beautiful lace like this that I might do on this side. It's white, mostly with just a slight hue of pink right here. It really, yeah, it's really beautiful. And I may use that on the edge, depending on how well it looks against this lace. We'll figure that out as we get to the final stages. I bought white satin. This is beautiful satin ribbon, a little more expensive than I normally spend. But what we're going to do with this is we're going to wrap this around before we put anything down and make this where it can tie shut with a big fluffy bow right there. I don't think I'm going to use any tulle in my wraparound, so this is probably going to be all we're going to use for the wrap. Then some other little things I've got just in case for decorating. Well, these little pearly things, and that would be the only tool that we use. This is made of tulle. Hobby Lobby. I got a little bit of eucalyptus leaves to get the minty color, the greenish color into the front cover. So that's my green. Then I got the little pink, I don't know, buttons maybe, just a little bit. They look like pink baby's breath really, but that's that. Then I've got 2 types of daisies. I got the Daisy Mom, which are these, and they've got beautiful stones that glitter inside. And then I got this beautiful bouquet of daisies that we'll just use part of and use the rest of them somewhere else. I got several jars I could use them on, so it won't go to waste. That's what we got. And then, just in case I wanted a little more pink, I bought these little, I think they're made of just strings, but they're little fuzzy pom-pom looking little things. Got them from Hobby Lobby too in the wedding section, so got those. So that's going to be the items I think that we're going to be using to put through this cover. So, first step, I'm going to cut this video for a while. I'm going to go over to my cutting station. I have a great big cutting station. I have to have it where everything is lots of room. There's no way in the world I can cut it here on this small desk. So I'll be back in a little bit and we will do this cover. We'll get the basic down and we'll do the cover. And I've got to decide, because the cover is going to wrap to the inside of this we're going to have to come up with another sheet to go here. I really didn't want, I'm not going to lose this one, but I really didn't want to lose this one because the texture, it's just a really nice texture paper, and I don't have anything textured like it. But my thought is I may, on my machine, cut a piece of satin, if I have enough, and turn it over and do one of the fancy stitch all the way around it and glue that here to cover the mechanisms that we do, or the composition of putting it together. I like to hide my work the most I can. So we'll work on this. We'll figure this out, whether it's going to be paper or another piece of cloth, but I really believe we're going to use white satin in there. That's my intent. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so I'll be back in a few minutes and we'll decorating this book. Okay, guys, here comes the final stage. I got the satin cut at the machine or at the desk. And now I'm going to try to lay it up here. I hope I cut it as straight as I cut it as straight as I possibly could. I think I got a little bit off in this corner, but I'm not going to, a lot of that's going underneath. I'm not too worried. All right, so we're going to lay the book in on the satin. And we need a little bit of space here and a little space here because we're going to wrap this book. And I want to make sure I've got wrap here and wrap here. So I do not want to put glue underneath the satin. On this front, I don't want to put glue here because it could take away from the satin. So what we want to do is make sure everything is glued along this edge and as tightly as possible. So we're going to use Fabri-Tac. If you guys prefer 3-in-1, that's okay, but this is Fabri-Tac. That's what I'm going to use. And I'm first going to start with just a small strip right here of it. And I'm going to see, I may need to just, yeah, this may get messy for me, so y'all just have to bear with me. I'm going to choose my finger, and I'm going to smooth it out just a little bit. Make me a nice, wide, smooth strip there. I got my wipe here, so I'll keep my fingers clean as I can, which won't be that easy. Okay, then we're going to pull the satin over on this edge, and we're going to take what I call my smoother, y'all call it paint scraper, whatever y'all want to call it, that's your choice. And then I'm going to pull, and you see it sliding a little, but that's okay. We still want to pull. We still want to turn it and pull it as tight as we can. And guys, it may not be able to stay completely in frame because the book is mighty wide here, but I'll stay as much as I can, and we want to get this edge pulled tight. And we may have to do this a little time. We may have to cut the video off and let this dry a few minutes before we pull from the other side, because what I want is I want to be able to, oh, I didn't, okay, so that's two. I'm not going to have enough here, so I've got to go back and pull some of this up. Good thing it isn't dry before I decided to close it. Okay, so we're just going to go back and put only just a small tad like this. Not sure that's enough. I may have to go cut another piece. I hope not, because this satin was expensive. Okay, let's try that again. That didn't work out. Okay, we'll get there. Okay, let's get this back where we've got some at the top and the bottom. It's going to twist on me a little. Okay, can't worry about twisting. We've got to work on one side at a time. Okay, we've got to have enough, though, to bring it around, because we have that large, puffy, I guess it's batting underneath, little batting that I put underneath to give the book a little puffy look. Okay, so I pushed that like that. Okay, and that Fabri-Tac's getting really tacky now, so it's starting to hold tight. Okay, so now I've got that on. I'm going to have to close my book like this, and we're going to have to really pull the satin from the other side. Now, I'm not so worried about the little bit of a wrinkle, because like I said, we're going to have a lace overlay on top of this. The biggest thing we want right now is just to get this stretched over the outside, first part of the outside of the book. Okay, so like this. So it's starting to look like a wedding album now. So on the back side, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do a nice strip of Fabri-Tac. I got to keep watching this, though, because it got... Okay, I'm going to tell you something else we need to do, guys. This is just precautions, but I need to do this. I need to wrap my pages like this so that I don't accidentally glue them, okay? This is just a suggestion. If you got saran wrap, some kind of plastic wrap, I highly suggest that you wrap your pages that you've already finished. Just because there was some glue here, I just don't want it to stick, all right? I'm just trying to take every precaution I can on this last measure that we're doing, okay? And I want this really tight, so I'm going to put a really thick strand of Fabri-Tac here. Okay. All right, so we're going to roll it over, pull it, make sure we're not pulling it off the other side, trying to stay as straight as I can. Okay, now I'm going to let this dry for just a second, because it's probably going to pull some of it when I pull it around. Because remember a while ago it did it, and see how it's pulling it down? I don't know if you can see, but it is pulling it some, but we still want it tight as we can get it, even if we have to stretch that satin a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to take that and leave it like that. I'm going to press down again. Take my smoother, press it down. I'm hoping by the time I pull this, we're not going to get a lot of play like we're getting right now. But like I say, the decorations are going to cover most of the cover anyway. But I'm not going to say that this isn't important. It is still very important. Okay, take my smoother and really press that down. And don't worry about any of this. Remember, we're going to cover this whole section. Right now, it's just the mechanics of it all, and we'll hide all the mechanics in a little bit. Okay, got that. Let that dry a little bit. Okay. Now, next spot. You gotta get this corner tucked. I hate corner tucks, and I'll be the first to tell you, I just literally despise tucking corners. I don't never have much luck getting them like I want them. Don't know why, but I'll do the best I can. Don't like corner tucks. I have to be very cautious here. I cut a little bit of an angle there because I don't cut it all the way because I want to stuff this up under there like that. Again, remember, we are going to be putting lace over the top of it, but we want this corner to smooth. And I have to, you guys, I don't want to get out of the thing, but I have to use my bone folder if I can put my hands on it to kind of come around this corner like this and tuck that as I'm going. I want a tight corner. I want a tight corner here. And again, I'm not too upset if I don't get it as tight as I want it, again, because the lace is going to be there. I gotta get some fabric tack in here. It's not even gonna do a thing until I get some of it glued down. Okay. We're going to come around it like this and tuck this corner. At the same time, we're pulling this one up over. I want to make it smooth as I possibly can. And I'm still getting too much of a point here. Okay, so I got to keep pushing here. Right now, I'm really just pushing with my bone folder where I had put the glue on this corner. And again, I've got to be careful with this glue and my fingernail polish. All right. We're starting to come together there. All right, I think I got a halfway decent corner there. Get right there. Okay. Gotta make sure that we have some still up here. This thing just want to twist and turn a little bit. So let's make sure we've got a little on both sides. Pull that. Don't worry so much about here. We're going to tuck some of the fabric down into the spine. There's that. I'm not going to press it too tight just yet. I want it tight, but not too tight because I want to be able to maneuver here. Still pushing a little, making sure your pages are covered up here, guys, because if you glue over it, it could mess them up. And same thing again, we want to get this corner tucked in. I'm going to stuff it under there like that. Get some glue on it. Okay, glue. Let's get glue down this corner. So when I stuff, I don't have to worry about it. Okay. Pull it back out. Stretch it. Stretch it. Okay, we're going to tuck this corner under right here. I'm pulling off threads that's in my way. And I didn't cut that one because I'm not going to, it's just not enough bulk there to worry about cutting it. I hope. You know, watch, you can always go back and cut it. You want this pulled in really as tight as you can. Okay. Oh, I hope I got enough to wrap it. Oh, okay, let's pull from that side. Pull from that side, pushing and pulling. You got to stretch it enough. You've got to get it wrapped over. I am going to have to cut some of that off, that corner bulk off. I didn't want to, but I'm going to have to. All right, let's twist it around a little. When you get past this part here, it's not so bad. And I am videotaping it just because I think you guys need to see the process. Sometimes it is not as simple as it looks, and this is something you're going to have to master if you're going to do altered looks. You've got to master these corners. And a lot of all the fabric, I usually leave 2 inches, and I only left 1 inch, and I should have left more on this one of all the ones because I wasn't gluing the front. And this is worrying me because I'm going to have to pull some of this from this side. Just a little bit. I got to have a little more, just a tiny bit more on this end to work with. There we go. And glue that end back down. Okay? There we go. And I am just pulling the edges off really bad, but we got to get enough that when we put a piece over it, it's going to hide it. So let's get us a strip of glue up here. I've never worked with satin before on a book cover, so this is a learning process for me too, guys. Just like it is for y'all, it's a learning process for me. And I'm not sure satin is a fabric I want to work with too often. But everything that is new is a challenge, and you deal with it and do the best you can. And like I say, all this is going to be hidden anyway. I don't fret too bad yet because we're going to be hiding most of this. We just haven't quite decided with what, but we will at some point. Okay, let's see. We got this down, and that tacky's already started getting really tight, and that's good. It's got to cover all that edge. It's got to at least get onto the paper some. Okay, it didn't there, but we got to work on that. Okay, now let's just pull it over and see where we are. Oh, that looks nice. Nice. It smoothed it out pretty well. It doesn't look bad so far. I'm not unhappy with the corners. They're doing all right. Now we got to go and figure out where we need to clip this. Okay, this is just going to get tucked. So this is going to get tucked over into the spine. So I have to look at this here. Again, it's going to get covered, so I'm not worried. But I got a little teeny piece. If you look right here, it's a little loose right there on that edge. So we're going to pull that down some. I got a little piece right here in this bend. I'm going to cut it out if I can get my scissors in there without cutting my page. Okay, there we go. That's good. Get back in there. I don't want you gluing my pages. All right, now I'm going to go to the back side too and go ahead and cut this a little bit because I want to tuck it right at the spine. Cut it down, okay? Take my finger and open up my spine. Go ahead and put some glue in there because if I get it in the right the first time, I don't want to have to redo it. I can always pull it out with this fabric tack, okay? It doesn't adhere immediately. Okay, pull out your book cover, and there's that. Okay, there you go. Okay, we got that in. That piece is in. Okay, gotta do the same on the bottom side. Let's get our ribbon out of the way. Okay, let's pull it up. And let's find our cut spot. And our cut spot here. Okay, we'll worry about this in a minute because it's way too short. So we'll pull all this down before that glue completely dries. Get that bulk out just a little. And I've got a little, okay, I hope you see, and I'm pulling and tugging and making sure I get the wrinkle on this edge out. I don't know if you can see the wrinkle. Okay, and I need to cut the fabric right here. I need to cut the fabric right there. Okay. We're going to open the spine up again. Stick our finger down in. This glue, this fingernail polish is going to have to come off before I do any more. Yep. Because we're about to get hot pink on top of this light pink. Down that spine like that. Roll it over. Bone folder, press it in. Got a little point there, and I'll work on it later. I got to get this fingernail polish off. See, I got polish right there, and that's going to upset me really bad. But I'm not sure my polish remover will remove it without making a mess. I may try just a tiny bit, and they just make it a bigger stain. If it does, we're just going to have to take this cover off and start again. And yes, sometimes that happens. So make sure when you're working with something that's this light color like this, that you are, I'm hoping that's going to dry and not, well, like I say, the lace is going to go over that. I think I got it off. So I think the Lord up above just was with me on that one. Okay. We were tucking this side in, and we still had a little bubble here I don't like. And I don't know whether I need to pull off fabric or glue down. I think we just need to put a little more glue in here and underneath this part. Oh, you can't even see me. Okay, I got a little bubble there. I'm going to put some glue right there. We're going to take my finger first, since I got it all cleaned off. And I went ahead and washed my hands good with alcohol to get all the skin oils off. I've done everything I could to protect this white satin. Okay, so now this is what we're doing here. I'm going to take the bone folder and press that in. Again, remember, this is, there is going to be other decorations on this front. And if there's little flaws like this, for one thing, I'm probably going to line this with pearls anyway. But I still want my base mechanics to be tight and good, especially showing it to you guys, because you're trying to learn, and you just have to know that there's little things that happen. And I say I'm twisting that, and that's kind of laying it down. I think we've got most of that bulk done there. Now, the only thing we've got to do now is pull this back side up and get those two back corners. And I am going to take it off video because I don't want the video to get too long on these two corners. So just bear with me. When you want to get back, these corners will be done. Okay, guys? I don't want the video to be too entirely long. I had gotten a piece of glue on there, but the fingernail polish took that back off also. I'm going to get this pink thread just kind of throw it on the inside here for right now. Okay, the satin is on. Okay, so for me, that's a lot of the hardest part of it, was getting that satin on. And it's on. And now we've got to decide what we're going to do here. Okay, glue's in. I'm going to stick a piece of paper here for protection for a few minutes. Go grab another piece and stick it right here for protection for a few minutes. I got to protect the guts of the book a whole lot. All right, so now, next step is to get the lace on.